For decades now, Tibet's spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, has waged a sustained campaign maintaining global pressure on China to relax its iron fist on Tibet and grant a genuine autonomy within the People's Republic. But rarely has the Dalai Lama been in the headlines more than since the sometimes violent demonstrations that began in Tibet on March 10 this year and raged on and off for 2 weeks. In the inevitable Chinese crackdown, an unknown number of Tibetans were killed. The Chinese acknowledged 21 deaths. Demonstrators say it was more than 200. It's now history that the protests spread, dogging the journey of the Olympic torch through Europe, America and Australia on its way to China for the Beijing Olympics. The Dalai Lama, of course, has always preached non-violence, but a growing number of young Tibetans are obviously frustrated by China's intransigence on their calls for full autonomy. The Dalai Lama is in Australia, not, he says, to play politics, but to teach his Buddhist philosophy. And I spoke with him in Sydney earlier today. Your Holiness, you have described what is going on in Tibet as cultural genocide. How severe, how rapid a genocide in your terms?
No, my sort of expression like this, whether intentionally or unintentionally, some kind of cultural genocide is taking place. Word genocide, I qualified right from the beginning. The reason, in fact, is the administration in autonomous area and also outside autonomous Tibet, the Chinese officials put a lot of restrictions, Tibetan study. And last year, or I think 2 years ago, I met with some Tibetan student who come from mainland China, from Tibet, and study in America. Some of them, cannot speak Tibetan, only Chinese. So, since there are majority of the population, the minority Tibetan, in their daily life, they have to use Chinese language rather than using Tibetan. So these are unintentionally, some kind of overwhelming sort of situation, the Tibetan culture, heritage, including language, degenerate.
It must concern you if that continues uninterrupted for long enough, then Tibetan culture disappears or becomes very weak.
Yes, we'll die.
You've argued Tibet's case to the world and to China for decades now. Do you think the fact that younger Tibetan protesters have become more militant this year, the fact that they have, reflects some frustration at the failure of your leadership and your dialogue to force change in Tibet?
Yes, it is true. Now, a growing sort of feeling of frustration now growing among Tibetans. It is understandable. So the criticism towards my stand also increasing. and sometimes they won't listen, you see, my sort of suggestions or my advice. But of course, I respect, you see, they are utilizing freedom of speech or freedom of thought. I always telling them, I have no authority to say, shut up. It is up to you.
But you have a moral authority.
Oh, yes. Even those people, I think they love me, they respect me, but in certain views, you see, they have this different. But as far as violence and non-violence is concerned, I think generally Tibetan, you see, including youth organization, generally they support, they agree non-violent principle. But some individual, one or two, that's a different question.
You have urged Tibetans not to demonstrate against the Olympic torch, but do you sympathise with those who see the torch route through Tibet itself as a provocation?
Now, since we do not seeking separation, and then moreover, the Olympic game, I think over billion Chinese brothers sisters really feel proud of it. Therefore, we must respect. So, in the past, many occasions, I appeal, including Tibetan, should not disturb that sort of ceremony, or even to visit to torch. For example, after incidents in London and Paris because of that disturbances.
Yeah.
So I particularly, specifically appeal to the Tibetan community in San Francisco, don't make disturbances. I appeal. So in visit in Lhasa area of Tibet, I personally feel may not much disturbances. It's better, not much use.
Do you think that China's long-term strategy is simply to wait you out, that you are the most effective focus of resistance on Tibet, that if they simply wait you out in the expectation that you're gone, that you will be gone one day, and that at that point what is left of Tibetan resistance will fade away?
Now there are two opinions. Since early 80s, you see, there are two opinions, even among the Chinese. One opinion, yes, Dalai Lama as a troublemaker. So after he gone, he passed away, the things automatically solved. That's one opinion. Another opinion, it is better while that troublemaker remain there, you can deal.
Not quite like dealing with the devil.
Oh, yes, devil with horn. Once you see that demon gone, then nobody can truly represent, or in other words, I think the popular among Tibetan. I don't know. I think if I say Tibetan, I think generally, listen. Majority, certainly majority of them should listen. Therefore, while such person alive, it is better to find solution.
I assume that even the Dalai Lama acknowledges human frailty. What negative emotion do you personally have the most trouble with?
Anger, sometimes.
Is that right? How do you deal with it?
Huh?
What makes you angry?
If you ask some silly questions, again and again, then I may lose my temper.
So, but you haven't lost your temper today.
Yes. One time in New York, in America, one New York Times, what called? Columnist, one lady, asked me, what is your sort of legacy after me? Then I told, I am Buddhist practitioner. I cannot think about my name after me. So important is, while I alive, I should sort of something useful for other. Then she again asked that same question. Then I answer same way. Then third time, then I lost my temper.
So how do you deal with anger?
But I think the basic mental attitude, I think through training, if your basic mind calm, then anger comes, go, not remain.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's important.
Not hanging on to your anger.
No. Within minutes, it go. Now, for example, after 10th March, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sadness, and also feeling of helplessness. So intelligence level, a lot of sort of disturbances. But seems to see on deeper mind, I think through years training of mind. So seems to be quite calm. So these disturbances on intelligence level may not disturb much deeper level. So at least, in spite of many sort of worry, so I think one indication, then since last now more than 2 months, 10th March, when I give some sort of lecture on Buddhism, my mind not that much clear. I think as a result of disturbances in my intelligence level. Yeah. But you see, these disturbances never destroy my sleep. So that I think at deeper level, I think still calm mind. I feel like that.
And on that note, we'll have to end the interview, but thank you very much for talking with us today. Thank you.